Hi, Kelly. I'm Josh from DCC. It's nice to meet you. Yeah, you
Hi.
too. So how's it been creatively since you've been in the lockdown?
Oh, I've had a bit of a roller coaster ride, to be honest.
I think we all have, actually.
Yeah, probably like everyone. I really felt that at the beginning I was, super stressed, probably
Yeah,
like everyone else, and
yeah.
with questions like not knowing what was going to happen.
Mhm.
Really kind of, yeah, a stressful period for everyone. I think, what was going to happen at work. Um, was I going to have a job? All these questions were kind of
Yeah.
springing up in my head. But now I have been working from home for about 5 months. Feels like forever. but,
Wow.
but yeah, creatively, it's kind of been um, quite difficult for me. I am so used to traveling a lot
Hmm.
and just being in central London. I commute every day and I'm in central London. I'm so used to having everything around me,
Yeah.
exhibitions, galleries that I'd go to weekly. Um,
Inspiration everywhere. Yeah.
Feeding my mind with
Yeah.
everything every day. And you just don't realize how much you appreciate that
Until
when
it's
it's all
gone.
gone.
Yeah.
So I have found that really hard. But now I think I'm getting to grips with it a lot more. And I've tried to do other things, like things that have helped me, because I found that I'm just constantly on the computer the whole time,
Hmm.
like signing or on Zoom calls or in meetings. I found that sort of walking, because there's quite a lot of forests near where I live and
Oh, lovely.
and parks. So walking outside has been like really a major help for me, which sounds really weird, but yeah, I've been doing like my daily walks, going and see ponies and stuff, and I feel like that's really helped my creativity, to be honest.
Yeah. That's
um,
interesting, actually, because I think something similar for me, that obviously it's been a complete roller coaster ride. And
yeah,
if anyone asks you that question, it's it's been everything. It's very
yeah,
difficult to sum up in one sentence how it is, because during that time we felt really good highs, really big lows,
yeah,
and creatively, obviously, when you're taken away for all that inspiration, it's a
yeah,
massive shock to the system. But
yeah,
I must admit, there has been moments during the process of the lockdown where I've actually enjoyed not being influenced so much by what's going on outside, because it's
yeah,
given me time to think about what's going on inside and
yeah,
coming up with completely new things which have not been um, pushed on me by all the things going around me.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's been interesting. That's been interesting. And now I've just got a lot of energy to actually go and put those things into action. You know?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think if you think it was so intense as well at the beginning, I just
Mm-hmm.
it was so intense. I don't think I slept very well. It was so intense, and now I feel like lockdown's eased a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and it's beginning to be a little bit more normal. Not quite the same, but I still haven't been to London for a really long time. But yeah, I'm
Right.
taking other things in as inspiration. Kind of like, I think that my daily walks in the forest have really kind of been a bit more of a process for me, thinking about sustainability and things like that. Like,
I mean,
I was
completely. I think.
I was with it before, and I was obviously aware of it before, and I'm part of that process. But now it really feels like I'm connected to this even more.
Yeah, totally. I think that's been a massive thing that it's given everybody, not just people, creative people, but everybody, a time to think about what we really do need in life and what's really important to us, and how that we can all work together. First of all, to try to solve this problem of the COVID-19, but
Yeah,
then extend that to when everything does go back to, let's say normal, that how we
yeah,
can all work together to solve bigger problems, which is looking after the planet.
yeah,
and
exactly. And
obviously and obviously and obviously people like you and me who are in the denim industry, we obviously, we're very focused about trying to make our industry as sustainable as possible, because if we can keep our industry sustainable,
yeah,
then we can enjoy denim forever.
exactly. And I think that now people in general are really more aware of this, because this whole COVID-19 and like the deforestation, I mean, that's got like a real connection, and then
It has.
kind of makes you really think about what we're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
on the planet. I know it has had this really big effect on me.
No, it has a really massive effect, and I think if you break it all the way down, I think the base of it, the structure of the whole concept is about people working together to solve a bigger problem.
Exactly.
Because like everyone staying inside is not nice, but we're all doing it for ourselves, and we're doing it for each other.
Yeah.
And like, once we come out, if we get used to living in the world like that, we can then take those things that we've learned and put them onto looking after the planet, like going to the supermarket and taking a reusable bag, you know.
Yeah.
Like, just lots of little things. I think, you know, concentrate, you know, what you can do locally, and those effects will ripple through globally.
Yeah, and I've really had to, I mean, there's really not that much where I live, so I've really found that like my local community has been a major kind of, I don't know what, an influence, or like kind of, I've been thinking about my community more than I ever have done, because normally before I would just commute to London and come back again, and
Yeah,
you're on this kind of train,
you've been there. Yeah,
don't stop. So yeah, my creativity has definitely had an up and down process, but it's also been quite enlightening in a new way, I think.
exactly. No, I think it's been an enlightening roller coaster. I think I couldn't have put it in a better way, actually. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so how has the situation been in Pakistan over this whole period?
Well, I think like we're saying about the experience that both of you and me have had, I think especially in Pakistan, I think, and also in DCC, they want to find a way of carry on working. We want to find a way of carry on doing things in the best way possible. And I think the only way we can do that is we can all work together.
Yeah.
And in Pakistan, and especially in DCC, we've been putting all the different measures in place to try to make sure the factory is fully operational,
Yeah.
but as safe as possible for the workers and for all the people in the city and connected with the factory. So it's been a challenge, like everyone's been a challenge, but actually I think it's definitely the glass is half full rather than the glass is half empty, because it's really brought the company together and brought the country together to find a way to get over these challenges, to carry on doing what they're doing, but doing it in a way, in a safe way that we can try to help make this pandemic go away as quickly as possible.
It's been tough for everyone, hasn't it?
It's been tough, but I think even though it's been tough, I think that it really shows how it really shows the character of yourself, and really shows the character of your company, and shows the character of your country about how you're dealing with those challenges. And I'm really looking forward to getting back out to Pakistan to work. I feel 100% safe when I'm going to go there, and soon as I can get on flights, I'm going to be out there as quick as possible.
Yeah, I bet you can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, to talk a little bit about how I've been working this process, about how, well, also I expect you've been working in the same way. Like you said, you've been working very digitally, you've been working on the internet, you've been working with a computer, which is definitely something we can take forward, and something is a great tool. It's a fantastic tool. Doing things like this, like video conferencing with factories, with other brands. But my pure love, and where I think all the magic really happens for me personally with denim, is the physical contact of it. Is actually being in the laundry, discovering the secrets of the layers of the indigo, washing them down with different techniques. And even though I've been having a really interesting, fantastic, productive time working via video call and stuff like that, I think there's definitely something inside of me which really wants me to get back out there and be very hands-on with the product.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I've had so many meetings over Zoom, and kind of, you know, relationships over Zoom that I've had that with people that I've never really kind of spoken to before, and it's all been really intense over Zoom. So it's actually been kind of like a really productive process, with all
Yeah.
the Zoom calls or online.
I think the thing with the Zoom calls is you just connect really quickly. Not just like you connect quickly because of the internet, but like you start the conversation, you get down to the work. It's very focused, and I think that's been a really good thing via Zoom, because maybe if you meet someone in real life, maybe you have a cup of tea, maybe you have a chat, maybe you say, you know, how are your kids, how are your feelings, what's going on. But Zoom's like, okay, let's get down, let's work, show me this, show me that, this is what I think. Half an hour, and in half an hour you can do the same as what you probably could do in 2 hours if you met each other physically. So it's been good in that, it's been very good in that respect.
I do definitely miss the people connection though. Even though
I think interesting, yesterday I was talking with someone about the sustainability about working from home, and they were asking me, and I said something which actually, I said it a bit in a jokey way, but actually it's actually very serious, that because like yourself, you're a massive traveler for your work. And obviously we know how polluting it can be from all the airplanes and all the traveling. So working from home has actually been an immensely sustainable way of working. You know, exactly. cutting down the traveling, cutting down all these things which we can just do very easily over Zoom or over WhatsApp or other systems, you know.
And it's also kind of makes you really aware that this was really possible. This has been made possible because of this pandemic, which isn't great. But now we've almost developed this new way of working, which has become really amazing, I think. I
hope we can find a kind of a middle ground, because you know, I still want to be traveling. I still want to be going.
Half and half would be great.
Half and half would be really good, because I mean, there's times when I'm just like, oh, I need to like just go, and there's other times when I'm like, oh, I'm really good to be, you know, working from home or working from my studio. So half and half would be the perfect way to go forward.
So I've got another question for you.
Okay.
And so DCC is quite unique and special, and you guys are vertical, and you have your own spinning mill called Hantex. That's correct?
Right, yeah. That's right.
And are there any denim fabrics which you are developing which would we should know about, that you can tell me about? Because I have found that Zoom calls like this are the best way for learning. Like, I literally learned so much over this process. So please feed me some information.
Well, I think rather than talking about individual fabrics, I think the best thing to do is just talk about a family of fabrics and a family of a way we're developing fabrics, which I think is really exciting. And I think what makes it so exciting for me is obviously these fabrics are all based in the sustainable fabric range. This is something at the forefront of DCC, thinking about how we can make fabrics more sustainable. But what I find really interesting about what we're doing at Hantex is we're taking the super organic, super natural, super recycled, and we're mixing that with the latest technologies.
Okay.
So we're blending two completely polar opposite things. We're blending natural organic fibers, recycled fibers from hemp, and we're doing that with mixing it with technologies, with waterless dyeing technologies. Okay. So we're using the latest dyeing technologies, which reduce water for dyeing, and then we're taking natural fibers from different fibers other than cotton, because cotton obviously takes a lot of water to grow. So we're finding different natural fibers, and we're mixing those and dyeing those with the latest technologies, which are waterless technologies. So by improving the dyeing process of the fabrics, of the yarns, and using yarns which are organic, natural, recycled, we're creating some beautiful fabrics, because already inside the fabric development stage, we're focusing very much on sustainability, whether it's the yarn we're choosing, whether it's the way we dye it, whether it's the way we finish it. So then when it's passed over to me in the laundry, I already know the base I have already has a lot of thought about sustainability already gone into it.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things that we're doing, we're making light sensitive fabrics, which are very reactive to all the Genealogia laser machines that we have in DCC.
Yeah.
So because the fabric is a lot more light sensitive, obviously we get better results from the laser. We're using less water to wash it. So the process in the laundry is becoming a lot easier.
Okay.
So if the process in the laundry is becoming a lot easier to get better results in an easier way, we're using less water, we're using less energy, we're using less manpower because we're using the lasers to do all the work. So it's a very efficient way to work, but that's all started with the sustainability and the concepts in the fabric. Okay. So that whole process, if you start off with a good fabric, then the whole process improves. Yeah. Which I think that is something definitely we've been working with in the last years. But since the COVID-19, we've just been refining these processes. And this time we've all had for ourselves, has given us time to think, which is because we're not doing this craziness every day, like you said, traveling here, traveling there. Yeah. So because everyone's had time to think, we thought, oh, okay, so what kind of blends of yarns can we do? What kinds of twists can we do to get a better effect of the tension of the fabric? So the fabric tension is better. So then when we take it into the laundry, it's going to give us a better stonewash effect, but without using as much stonewash. Or maybe we don't even use stonewash. Maybe we use natural laser effects to give us a stonewash effect. So we didn't even need to do a stonewash effect because we've lasered stonewash effects onto the garment. Yeah. So it all just kind of really beautifully fits together. But I think that if you do that from the beginning of the process, which is basically picking and spinning the yarns, every process gets easier and easier and easier. So this is something myself, even though I'm probably would say I was more of a laundry specialist, I definitely put all my input into the fabric because if I know that I'm going to get fantastic fabric, it's going to make my job a lot easier when I'm in the laundry, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And for those people that are listening that don't know what your waterless kind of processes are, can you just expand on that a little bit?
Sure. I think, well, I mean, first of all, talking to people that don't know so much about waterless is that all the effects that all the color changing we get with indigo on the jeans is traditionally done by using lots of water. And as we all know, the less water we use in life, whether it's in making jeans, whether it's brushing your teeth, whether it's anything, the less water we use, the more beneficial it is going to be to the planet. And people like you and me, or in our industry, we're trying to we've highlighted that there's a lot of water being used making a pair of jeans, and we are inventing, being inspired, we're coming up with different technologies and different techniques to try to reduce that water. When this concept first came along, as we all know, because you work in the industry a long time as well, it was all very much focused on the laundry. And I can go on and talk about different laundry techniques that we can, very exciting techniques that we've come up with, which has improved the waterless. But I think that where things are shifting in the last few years, which has kind of not been talked about at the beginning, was actually the amount of water which was used in the dyeing process to actually make the fabric. And this is something which I think became quite absurd. It was like we were using, or everyone in the industry was using millions and millions and millions of gallons of water to make the fabric. Then they were passing it to the laundry and they were saying, okay, now just wash it with one bottle of water. It was kind of like, so what?
So you wanted a whole circuit. You wanted it to go all the way through.
Exactly. It's like, oh, we just use one bottle of water to wash this fabric, or 1 cup of water to wash this jeans. But then that wasn't the full story, where there was lots and lots of litres being used to actually make the fabric. So what everyone is doing now, and especially in DCC, we've invested in the machinery to reduce the water in the fabric manufacturing stage. And then once it's given to me, then I can then wash it with 1 cup of water. Knowing it's only had a few cups, but knowing it's only had a few cups of water to make it, which is good, So one of the main technologies that we're using to reduce the water in the laundry is we're using what we call nanobubble technology.
Okay.
There's lots of different names for it. Everyone has a different trade names for it. But I personally like to call it cloud washing or nanobubble technology.
Okay.
And basically, I don't know if you know about it, but instead of putting water into the drum into the washing machine, we basically put foam cloud of bubbles into the washing machine.
Okay.
So with water, what you do is, if you're just using 2 or 3 liters of water, you have a volume of about like this. But if you turn that volume into bubbles, then the volume is much bigger.
Yeah.
So because the volume of the cloud is much bigger when it goes inside the drum of the washing machine, therefore it can touch and cover the jeans in a bigger area.
Yeah, yeah.
So without getting too technical, it's like washing your clothes in bubble bath water,
Okay.
or putting it in a swimming pool. You know, the bubbles in the bubble bath is going to be a lot bigger volume than just a bucket of water. So using this, we're able to completely reduce the water consumption massively. And on top of that, the technology has been progressing over the last few years. And what's happened, I think, definitely within the last couple of years, the technology has got so good that actually now we prefer the results of the sustainable washing than the results of the original washing.
Yeah. Okay,
Because but this only happens generally if the right fabric is we get the right fabric. I always say, when it comes to washing in the laundry, I say the most important thing is not the laundry master, is not the people. The most important thing is the fabric. If the fabric is good, then you can make fantastic things happen in the laundry. But definitely now we're getting really, really exciting washes using sustainable technologies, where if you go back a few years, it was kind of like, oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's sustainable.
Yeah, it needed some work.
Yeah, it's sustainable. And people are like, oh, okay, then I accept it. But now it's like, wow, what's that? And it's like, oh, because this was always my dream as a designer. My dream as a designer was not to sell you something sustainable. My dream as a designer was for you to like it, and and then afterwards you realize it's sustainable.
Yeah, yeah. So
you get my point. It's
yeah.
not like you pick it and you go, well, it's kind of ugly, but I'll pick it because it's sustainable.
Yeah.
You say, no, oh, I really like that. That's fantastic. And then when you're in the queue in the shop to pay for it, you look at the sticker and you say, oh, it's also sustainable because it's used less water. It's with organic fabrics. You think, oh, I feel good about myself now. But the end product is just really really exciting, and it just makes you want to wear it, which is fantastic.
Yeah, well, that's brilliant, I think, and great that you can't even tell the difference anymore between, which makes you even more encouraging that we want to see this everywhere.
For sure. I mean, the being able to tell the difference is getting even more difficult for people that work inside the industry. Yeah. So for the end consumer, the person in the shop, it's going to be almost impossible for them to tell the techniques. And if we can use techniques which are saving energy, saving water, better for the environment, why are we not doing it? You know, why? There's no reason not to put this as a standard and a basic for all factories in the world.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant, and you've had a great way of explaining it there. So it's really like,
you can see I'm quite passionate about it.
Yeah, no, it's really good, because I it's sometimes really difficult to kind of like follow and understand the process. But it's like
And what about you at Trademark Blue? Have you been doing any projects during this time, like have given you kind of exciting moments through the COVID-19?
Yeah, so I've been working on a few projects. Obviously, so I work with a lot of mills in different ways, like behind the scenes, creatively. I work with projects creating photos and imagery, and I'm an online person, so I work a lot with that. But during this lockdown COVID period, it's kind of been a bit slower process, but still 100%, you know, manageable and really fun. I've got some really cool projects coming out. Yeah, so I definitely have, I have managed to work pretty good during COVID, so I'm like super happy.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I've had loads and loads of, as we've already said, I've had like loads of panel talks that I've been involved with, like Carved in Blue. I've had sustainable panel talks with kind of Instagrammers that maybe want to know a bit more information about my job and what I do and what I think about sustainability.
So what kind of Instagrammers are you mainly in contact with or working with? Are you working with people? Because I always think there's people inside the denim bubble and there's people outside the denim bubble, but they're also interested as well. So I don't know if you being you're kind of like an influencer, which is a kind of crossover from both worlds, I guess.
Yeah.
So I wonder how if you've been giving this message with Trademark Blue or personally, what kind of message you've been giving to the general public, which are not inside the denim world, but maybe they've had time to sit around and learn a bit more about the industry we love, or even the product we all love, which is denim. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So for an example, I have had some Zoom kind of chats, recordings with, firstly, one of them was with something called Glam Observer, and they wanted to kind of chat with me about how I got my job, and it's basically for students or people that were interested in how do you get to be a designer, where does my interest in denim come from, and talk more about sustainability and learning, which was great because that also it helps people as well.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's fantastic to hear that, you know, people like yourself are already giving the message to students when they're learning to be a designer. Because when you and me we were learning to be a designer, it
wasn't even it wasn't even a word.
It wasn't even a word.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even.
Let alone a concept. Let alone a concept. There was no. So it's really good, you know, that kids, students, and people that are coming into our industry now are actually having that as a standard base to start thinking about it.
Yeah, it's really impressive actually how much they really know already. And they're so on it. They are so on it, and they are so interested in it, and they really want to learn about it. So I find that really they're so passionate about it. I find it really encouraging.
Yeah,
and then also I have had a couple of podcast interviews with something called the Plant Pill, and she was really interested in sustainability and about how I love to work with vintage, and I buy a lot of vintage. I buy a lot of like secondhand clothes. I've always been super passionate about buying vintage clothing.
Whereabouts do you buy your vintage from? Is there, obviously in London, there's some great vintage in London already.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of Portobello Market.
Sure. Yeah.
And there's a couple of kind of vintage shops. I don't even know if I should tell you.
Okay. Well, I actually used to live on Portobello Road. Actually, I used to live at number 26 Portobello Road, but that was a long time ago. But no, completely. I understand. Keep your secrets.
There's one in Vauxhall that I love. It's brilliant.
Okay.
I am a regular there, and they will have anything in there from like vintage Chanel to vintage Levi's. It doesn't necessarily have to be denim.
Yeah. No, I actually think some of the best inspiration I ever get from vintage clothes is actually not so much the denim, because what I do is I like to look at periods of vintage clothes which are kind of actually pre-denim, and look at how they're constructed, how they're made, the patterns they use, but then mix those with modern fabrics and modern things. So again, you're getting that beautiful mix of old things, but mixed with new technologies and newer ideas and new concepts.
Yeah, exactly, and that's really how I find a lot of inspiration like that. So
And what about in other countries? Do you go to other countries to do your vintage shopping as well?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of LA and the Rose Bowl. I mean, it's like miles and miles of pure heaven. So, I mean, I'm the one that goes with the trolley early in the morning.
Camping out the night before with the tent to be first one inside.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Rose Bowl. I
mean, Rose Bowl is the mecca. But how have you found the Rose Bowl in the last 5 years? Maybe. I mean, it's hard to find a bargain in there nowadays, I think, because
is.
It's
too well known now.
And also the people selling the stuff now, they, you hear about people maybe 10 years ago walking in there picking up a Big E Levi's for like $5, and it's like, $1,000. You can say it's like $1,000 pair of jeans, and then and now you walk in there and you find a Big E and the guy goes, yeah, $2,000, and you're like, that's $1,000.
No, I still love it because I really like the treasure hunt feeling, like they have those like big piles, those bundle piles. Should I go in there? Should I not go in there? And then you start to look, and then you get really involved, and then you find like a $5 jumper that you just.
Well, I think we both had that similar experience of when we were young, kind of car boot sales in England. Going with your parents, and there's like box of broken toys, and you just want to keep rummaging through till you
keep rummaging,
and then trying to get it for 50p is always the best one. But what about, have you been to Bangkok at all to do any vintage shopping?
I haven't, and I'm desperate to go because I have been stalking some Instagram shops from there, and so I've got it in my head now. That's like one of the places where I feel like I have to go because so many people told me about it. Have you been there?
More than 15 times, I would say.
So you're going to make me super jealous.
I would say, especially because at DCC we do menswear, women's wear, kids wear. We do everything. But one of the things we like to pride ourselves on a lot is we really like to specialize a lot in the menswear. And especially menswear laundry washing. And one of the amazing things about in Thailand, in Bangkok, is you find some really, really, really good vintage men's jeans. Excuse me. And the men's jeans, you basically find two different kinds of men's jeans, vintage men's jeans in Bangkok. You find the ones which have been kind of sent over from America on a massive container, which are the very beautiful, typical Levi's Wrangler jeans. And, you can literally search through millions of jeans, and maybe you're lucky you find a really beautiful Big E, or like we said, something like this. And you pay and the guy says to you in the stall, he says, $7. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'll give you $7, when probably you could have got him down to 5, but you felt really bad, so you gave him 7.
Be like, take 10.
No, just take 10. He's like, no, I only want 7. No, take 10, please. But then you get another type of really interesting denim there, and this is we're not 100% sure. We've talked a lot to the local people, and we don't know if it's done deliberately or it's just done coincidentally. But first of all, in Bangkok, they have a very, very, very strong culture of denim. Like the kids on the street, they just love wearing jeans. They love it. And there's a lot of local Thai brands. There's a lot of local Bangkok brands. And these 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, they're wearing like 18, 20, 24-ounce selvage jeans.
Wow. Okay.
And it's like 36 degrees, super humid.
Yeah.
So with a massive humidity, with these jeans, which are unsanforized jeans, which the indigo just falls off of them. Like if you wear these jeans, don't sit on a white sofa because it's going to be a big mess.
Yeah.
So these guys are just wearing these jeans, which the indigo just falls out really quickly anyway, because it's not been fixed properly. and then they're wearing it in 36-degree humid temperature. So the fades and the natural fades they get from wearing these jeans after like 3 months or 2 months are just unbelievable. Unbelievable. But then this is what we don't know what the truth is, because we don't know whether the people in the market in the last few years, they've seen, you know, European and Western people like us go there and get so excited about these jeans, which they thought were complete rubbish. And they're like, and we're paying, you know, good money for them. So what we think is happening now is the market stall owners, they are going to find people, either people working in the fields or people just anyone, and saying, I'll pay you to wear my jeans for 3 months, and then you give them back to me after 3 months, and I'll sell them in my market to these crazy Western people that are coming over, going crazy about these jeans. So that's it's kind of cool. It's so cool, because for me as a person that I love the laundry, you're getting really, really beautiful natural creasings, combings, marks, whiskers of people just wearing these jeans in day-to-day life. And you can get you can find a pair of jeans which was worn by a Thai mechanic fixing a factory in a field, and he's been wearing them for 3 months, and they look like they're 150 years old. And you know, so the inspiration that I can get from these jeans is just unbelievable. And then also, you know, being over there, searching and hunting through thousands and thousands and thousands of jeans, because I've been in warehouses where there's been mountains which have been 5, 6, 7 meters high of jeans.
Yeah. Okay, you're making me super jealous now. I feel like we should go on a trip. You're like so into this, and I'm just like, oh my god, I think I need to go.
So the only advice I can ever give anyone about going to Thailand to do vintage shopping is don't go with anything.
Okay.
Don't even take a bag. Okay. Literally just take the clothes you're wearing and no suitcase, because you can buy beautiful suitcases there. You're going to want, when you come back, you're going to want as much luggage allowance as possible. So anything you take is going to take away from your luggage allowance of when you come back.
So you're going to be buying a lot.
So go with nothing. Just a toothbrush and what you're wearing, and everything else you can get there and bring it back. So
So is this how you involve kind of storytelling as part of DCC? Is this kind of like, do you use this inspiration to sort of tell stories with your collections like this?
Well, I think the most important, definitely. I think the most important thing, especially, you know, us at DCC, what we find really important is, even though we are, like to say, denim manufacturers, denim specialists, or people that live inside the denim industry, we understand that the vast majority of people that buy denim are not inside the denim bubble. And they even though we're very passionate about denim, and they're also very passionate about denim, but passionate about it in a different way, they're using that denim as a part of a bigger story in their lives, and a part of a bigger story about how they want to feel, how they want to express themselves. And denim is a part of that for the end consumer. So when at DCC, when we're building collections and when we're developing collections, we like to put our heads in the end consumer's head, because it's very simple to say, we love denim, we're going to do it all about denim. But we understand that actually denim is just a part of a bigger picture. So when we're building the stories, we make sure that we're looking at influences, which is happening in photography, in skating, in music, in different influences that are not denim influences, and what they're talking about, and what the way they're using denim. And then when we come to build our stories, we bring all that information together. We bring what we know about the denim world and what's happening outside the denim world, and we marry them together to hopefully make a collection which can be very versatile, but very current about what's happening in trend in general, not just about the trend in denim, because the trend in denim can be very exciting for us, but we need to realize that the trend for denim is only a part of a bigger picture for everybody else.
Yeah, it can be quite static sometimes. So looking at the bigger picture is this is what I really love doing about.
Yeah, I mean, maybe with you with collaborations, I think, you know, you do a lot of collaborations, and I expect, you know, the collaborations you get the most excited about is, you know, doing collaborations with people outside of the denim world.
Yeah,
Because then you're making a completely new mix of things, which has never been done before, you know. And this is when it comes to the vintage, about taking a pair of jodhpur riding trousers which were stitched in the 1920s or 1930s, and then you're mixing that with a fabric which was made in the 2020 with sustainable projects, and you mix them two things together and you get something completely new, you know.
This is like one of my favorite things to do with designing, is like creating the story and creating the picture and like coming together, like putting all your ideas together. I absolutely love it. Like, I love that part of it. It makes me super excited to kind of start a project like that, kind of really be into it.
And I think once you have that good base, that good base of, then everything else on top of that, it just flows naturally. Because you already have the direction, you already have what you, when the beginning isn't quite focused, then it's really hard to build on top of it. But so is this the kind of thing you do with Trademark Blue? You help build stories for people?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's I love it because it literally can be. It doesn't necessarily have to even be about denim either. So it can be about accessories. But sometimes I kind of create stories, even if it's just to produce a series of like lookbook pictures. I've always got a story in my head. I've always got a back mood board that I've made to go with it, to create these like 10 pictures. I've always got a story about what
you want. Oh, exciting! I think we should do a collaboration together sometime.
I know. I'm like getting excited about this because I can see you're really passionate about vintage, and this is where I stem from. I look at the vintage. I look at like all these other kind of online things. Like I look at Pinterest. I look at like all these other Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, you name it. I look at all of these kind of things, put it all together and create my own stories.
Your own stories.
Yeah.
I think someone said to me recently during the lockdown, they said something to me which I found very interesting. It wasn't to do with design, it wasn't to do with denim or anything like that, but it was just a very simple thing, and it just said about find your tribe. And I think that's something really important that's been happening during the lockdown, is because we've all been connected through social media, like you said, you know, like TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram. That is very interesting. You can put yourself in contact with people instantly which have the same passions as you, and finding your tribe, whether it's music, whether it's skating, whether it's painting, whether it's cooking, whether it's exercise, doesn't matter what it was, but putting this COVID-19 has put people into contact with each other, and it's really been very creative and inspirational, because all these minds have been connected through the internet. Yeah,
it's one of the things that I absolutely love about social media. It does obviously have its downsides because it's totally addictive, but it's one of the good things about it is that I've met people that I can honestly say that are friends now through social media, and I've become friends with them. I've learned things from them. They've learned stuff from me. I've worked with them now, and they can be people from all around the world that I would never have met had I not been part of social media.
Been part of social media. Because photography is a big part for you, right? Everything, the photography is a really big part of everything you do.
Yeah.
And that's also obviously a passion of yours before kind of social media came around, or was social media something that really found that passion inside of you?
So a really long time ago, the way that I really started to I am 100% not a photographer. I'm not a photographer, but I really appreciate what a photographer does and the lengths that they go to get a picture. Like nobody really sort of sees that side of it. And actually, I really got into it because I many moons ago, I used to run the H&M Tumblr account, and I used to go to fashion weeks and work with a photographer and take street style pictures. And so I became, and this was like way back when street style was only just a thing, kind of
just starting to happen.
And I became
there was that first book, right? I remember the very first book. I can't remember the name of the photographer, but it was New York. I think he was a New York guy. He published it. I can't remember the name of it. And it was the very, very, very first street style book. It was probably around 2001, 2002, maybe, something like that. And it was like, there's some crazy guy walking around taking people in the street, and people are like, what's that? That's crazy.
The sartorialist. It could have been, because he was one of the first ones. Yeah,
right, maybe,
I was totally obsessed with how they created the picture and just who they were taking pictures of. And so I really became, like, you know, I really appreciated what they did, because I saw them also running around taking pictures at Fashion Week and trying to get that one
perfect shot.
Yeah. So I just was like, whoa, this is so on.
Because as a viewer, you just look at it and you just go, oh, that's a really nice photo, but you don't realise or stop to think that there's probably 100 photos that they didn't use to get that one perfect photo.
Yeah. So I became really obsessed kind of with street style, and I still to this day go to fashion weeks, and I spot trends at fashion weeks, and I will literally stalk people, which sounds really weird, but I'm like a people watcher. I will watch what people are wearing, where they're wearing it, what show they're at, what handbags everyone wearing, what jacket, what colour.
So what kind of criteria, because I spend a lot of time obviously in trade shows as well. And obviously I'm there for completely different, reasons for you. I appreciate what people are wearing and appreciate what people are looking at, but I'm not going out hunting for them. So I wonder, just a curiosity question, what kind of criteria do you think about when you're trying to hunt for someone at a trade show? Because the vast majority of the trade shows are looking, almost everyone's looking fantastic already. Everyone makes an effort. Everyone wants to wear something really cool. Especially, we work in the denim industry, so obviously a lot of people are wearing a lot of denim. Usually it's layers of denim with denim with denim with denim. And I've actually noticed in the last few seasons that a lot of photos which are being these kind of street shots, they're actually taking pictures of people which are actually not wearing so much denim.
Yeah, there's more of a mix.
There's more of a mix, where it used to be maybe 3 or 4 years ago, it was like, oh, there's a guy, a denim dude, and he's wearing like 15 denim items, denim bag, denim hat, denim tie. And wow, and he's like there, all denim. And now it's like, oh, there's a guy in a really nice pair of chino trousers, a pair of sandals, and a nice denim jacket, and that's it, So I wonder from your side if you can I'd like to learn a bit what your criteria is when you're finding these people at trade shows.
So I always look for someone, how they've styled their outfit, and how they've put it together. Or more, it doesn't matter about what brand they're wearing, or
is it important for you that the person really stands out, or it's because sometimes you see people at trade shows that are like, wow, that guy's dressed up, but he looks like a circus act. He looks like
I call it theme dressing. There's a borderline.
Theme dressing, okay, theme dressing. So they've gone like one or too many steps too far. Or you try to find someone more relatable, more natural, more where the people that are looking at that photo, they can be like, oh, I can relate to that. Or you're looking for the shock factor. I don't know what's the criteria.
I look both, to be honest, because I feel like when you're looking at trends, I get an overview. It's like I'm getting an umbrella look. So I try to see, okay, there's loads of girls this season that are literally wearing a pair of vintage straight leg jeans with a white t-shirt, and I've seen 10 girls dressed like that. And I'm like, is that a trend? Is that, is everyone
now? Or my question to you is, do you not take a photo of that because 10 girls are already dressed like that? So maybe that's maybe that's the trend of yesterday, not the trend of tomorrow. So
yeah, but I
so
think yeah,
you get my point. You
really
get my point.
borderline. Yeah, it's borderline. So if it's at a trade fair or if it's at Fashion Week, then normally the person attending that already
would already be a bit more elevated, a bit more advanced. Yeah,
it is already in probably working in the fashion industries.
Because that was my next question for you. The once you take the photos, or once you hunt the people for the photos, who would you say your public was that look at the photos? Are they people inside our industry? Are they people outside our industry? And if they're people inside our industry, are they for the customers? Are they for the clients? Are they for the factories? Are they for the designers like you and me? I mean, what kind of public are you aiming for, would you say?
So I'm a big pinner on Pinterest. I love it.
Okay.
And I have like millions of boards and millions of denim boards, and I separate all my like inspiration into different boards, and like men's and women's and like straight leg and patchwork and you name it, I've got a board for it.
Yeah. I mean, actually, Pinterest is a designer's dream. It's an absolute designer's dream.
Yeah. So
because at one time you can search for things, you can add things, but I think the best thing is, like you said, you can organize things. So I mean, this is like you were talking about Tumblr, which is one of the first ones that came around. And the beautiful thing about Tumblr, it was just like all this information. But then it was like, well, how do I order this? And Pinterest was kind of like like the ordered one. You can make mood boards.
Yeah,
you can make mood boards, basically.
I do. I make secret ones on projects that I'm working on. So I've got million secret boards that I share and make projects with people via collective.
Via Pinterest, yeah.
Yeah, and I use this. The thing I love about street style photography also is because it is relatable, and you can actually see yourself wearing it outside. If someone is wearing something that you think, oh, I'm not really sure I can wear this, if it's on a model, you're not really, maybe I think, oh, you know, I'm not 6 foot, I'm 5'3", am I going to really look all right in that? But then when I see someone wearing it in a street style picture that maybe
that's a real person, you can relate to it.
She's matched like 3 different shades of denim together.
Who would do that? And but it works.
I mean, that's how I use these imagery like that. And and I'm always looking at like different street style photographers for different things. So I really like, I'm going to name a few. I really like so traditional, I would say, like Nick Clements, because he focuses a lot on like vintage style.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm really into that. But then there's also uber trendy people like Blue Mode, who focuses on kind of 80s, 90s.
More focused, yeah.
And a lot of like sportswear mixes or imagery that has been remade, like items that have been remade, and I'm a big fan of that, so I love his work. And then also I've got a friend called Mo, and he works with kind of globally around fashion weeks, and he works with things like people like Net-a-Porter, and he's really great at homing in on amazing accessories and shoes. He just makes the pictures look amazing.
Wow.
He could be a woman wearing a pair of regular shoes, but this picture will look fantastic. So
fantastic.
He's cool. And there's also some new and up and coming photographers that I really love their personality, and it shines through in their pictures. So there's like Goldie Williams. He's a really cool guy. Every time I see him at Fashion Week, I will want to take a picture of him, and he's the one taking pictures. Cool.
That's really cool. It's like you're taking pictures of the chef cooking the fantastic food.
Yeah, and yeah, he's really cool guy. And also Tyler Joe, he is so energetic. You probably, I don't know if you said you haven't got.
I personally don't know him. No, you have to introduce me to him.
You have to look him up because he's brilliant, and he works with loads of publications. I think, can't remember who he works with now, but yeah, a lot of publications he works with. So he does street style, but he also does shoots as proper shoots as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, just
That's fantastic.
One of my favourites.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, apart from the photography, which obviously is a massive passion of yours, have you done any projects that you've worked on during the time in the COVID-19, which you're proud of?
Yeah. So I've worked.
Can you talk about them, or are they still top secret? Maybe.
Some of them are top secret. Some of them are top secret, so I won't say too much. But I can say that I did a project working with students, and that's one thing that I really love, because I feel like it's giving back, and it's also passing on knowledge. And if I think back to when I was a student, it was so different then. It was like so long ago. Things have changed so much now.
So much, yeah.
And,
well, I think one of the things you brought up earlier, like, obviously you're giving back, which is fantastic, but they're also giving the energy and the excitement to you, which is like, you were saying earlier, the students nowadays, they're so energetic and so passionate about getting involved in this industry. Not just for the creative reasons, but trying to make a change in the future, in the history with sustainability.
Yeah,
and I think we need to move. Sorry.
It's unbelievable what they.
It's unbelievable, yeah.
It doesn't look like student, and when I think back to what I did, it looks abominable compared to what I see students making now, because it's on another level, and their passion for it really shines. Like,
yeah.
Right.
I think even the word sustainability, we should even start to kind of go past that word, and I think we should start using the word responsibility rather than sustainability. Because I think sustainability actually in 2020 actually should just be a basic. It should just be. There should be no argument about it. We should now be talking about responsibility, which actually the word responsibility, it encompasses so much more than sustainability, because it also the responsibility to the workers, to a much bigger thing than just being sustainable products. It's about being responsible to the people around us, the people we're working with, and the planet we're on. So hopefully in the next years, people like yourself, you can really push that concept and idea into the minds of people on the street. I mean, because they're the only people that are really going to change this industry. We can make lots of noise inside the bubble, but when we start to hear people from outside the bubble, like governments and legislations and end consumers, which they only want to buy sustainable products, then the industry will change overnight. It will change straight away.
Yeah, exactly. And students are so passionate about it, and they are really knowledgeable about it. And from the very offset, their designing process starts with sustainability. That is what they're thinking of from the very offset. And what I said before, when I was a student, it wasn't even a thing. So
it wasn't a word. It wasn't even in our minds.
Yeah, but I think that the challenge with students these days is that there are so many people that want to work in the industry, and so it's hard for them to start out. So I love working on projects that kind of give back, or I feel like I can maybe just give them some encouragement or hope on how they can start to work in the fashion industry, how they can get their footsteps in the door, and all things.
And these students, these designers, they're in fashion generally, or they're in fashion photography, fashion denim. I mean,
most of them have been in fashion denim. So I actually worked with Ravensbourne on a project with them. They had sort of like a competition kind of thing, and I've done that for a couple of seasons now. So,
oh wow, interesting. Yeah, okay, I'll go. Where can I check that out? Is there a place I can check that out? Or?
Yeah, you can check. I can send it to you. I can check it out. You can check it out online. But the students there are incredibly passionate and knowledgeable about.
How much experience do these students have? Obviously, it's very difficult. But myself coming from the manufacturing side, I've also spent 50% of my career working in brands and 50% of my career working in factories. So I feel lucky in a way that I can kind of I can understand both sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And what spending so long inside the factory, inside the laundry, actually having a very hands-on approach with denim has been very rich, and I've learned an unbelievable amount.
Yeah.
And I wonder now for the students coming through that you said you're working on projects with, I mean, how much contact do they actually have, or how much knowledge do they have actually with what's going on behind the scenes of the denim?
They actually, so a part of the Ravensbourne education project is that they're actually given a lot of behind the scenes kind of lectures, and they get to meet people from washing factory, like they get to really see or hear about the process. And so they are equipped with so much information. And also from brands as well, they get lectures from people at certain brands, so I feel that gives them a real foot in the right
direction. And what about you? Do you feel during the pandemic, do you feel that there's been any brands that have been giving like a good message during this time?
Yeah, there's loads.
Okay, let me get my notepad.
Okay. So I'm gonna focus on 3, I think. So one of my favorites is Marquise Almeida. It's London. They put on a show at London Fashion Week for most seasons, but this Fashion Week they produced a collection that was made from all their old dead stock from past collections. And it's a mix of denim and other fabrics. It's not necessarily all denim, but the Marquise Almeida customer is quite kind of inspired, like 90s to early 2000s inspiration, and really is a mix up of how can I describe it? It's quite youthful, quite London, very eclectic. So they even managed to keep their own DNA whilst producing this collection made from all their dead stock. So I really love that. That sounds
very interesting. Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
And they made a video on it, and it's like really inspiring. They also do MA resale now, so they have a section online where you can buy their new products that they've designed, but you can also go back and buy their past collections. So I love it that you can buy items that have already been worn and they sell them again. It's really encouraging this kind of our brand is forever kind of thing, and that's why I really love Marquise Almeida's, because I've had some items in my closet that I've had for about 7 years. I still wear them today, and I still love them just as much as when I got them, even though they're quite high fashion pieces. So that's one brand. Another brand is Kaisner Schneider, and I'm really sorry if I say the name wrong because it's quite difficult to pronounce. They before COVID, they were one of the first people to do an online showroom, and they did this pre-COVID. So they were way on the head of the game.
They were on the trend. They were on the way ahead of the trend. Yeah.
So you got an email from them that showed their full new collection via kind of video, and you could check out the price of it. They went through a description of how their garment was made, and it was like a whole story. It was brilliant, really fun and really creative. And I also love that they have made parts of their collection out of, and I'm wearing it now, it's made out of denim sample squares. So all the denim that they've ever been sent for samples.
All the little, wow.
All the sample squares. They have
all the hangers, all the denim hangers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and which
Fantastic.
I absolutely love. So because it's like super creative, thinks outside the box.
Very outside the box. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think they're my two favourites.
Fantastic.
And I also really like that Wrangler did the biodegradable denim. So I think that was
exactly
cool, and I like that whole process of putting back into like a circular kind of, like
the whole circular motion of it. Yeah. And I think one of the beautiful I mean, we obviously love denim for many different reasons, but one of the beautiful things about denim is that it's one of the only products, one of the only garments which just gets better with age, and it can be reused. It can be reused either you can cut and remake, you can shred it down and respin it, you can just keep on wearing it, and the older it gets, the more beautiful it gets. So it's one of these products which is definitely, it has a future, has a history, and has a future, which I love.
I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay, go on then.
So I'm starting to design a lot with 3D software. I'm personally learning Clo. So do you see that happening in the future with DCC? Are you already doing it?
I think the 3D software, first of all, just talk about 3D software. I think it's, in the last few years, it's been an absolute revolution, because the technology's become so good, that I think it's not about, it's going to be a must. It's going to be a basic. It's going to be a tool that everyone's going to be using more and more in the future, especially during the way that we're going to be working right now, because it's a way of communicating your ideas in your head to a person which can be thousands of miles away, which you can't see, but it's a very realistic way of communicating with them. So definitely, DCC is definitely something we're working with, and it's something we're going to only be working with more and more, because I think it will just become a basic tool within the industry. Unfortunately, maybe because of the COVID-19, we don't know how long it's going to last, that brands, they feel more reluctant to send their designers on design trips, to go to visit people. So this, I think, technology has already fantastic, but it's coming at the perfect time when we need it, or we're going to need it. So definitely, it's definitely something worth learning, and it's definitely something worth taking into consideration for day-to-day work. Day-to-day work, definitely. So you're learning the softwares as well?
Yeah, I'm learning it. And it's actually really amazing. I mean, it's
incredible. It's incredible. I always joke that these technologies, I hope they don't become so good that they don't actually need the designers anymore.
I think it might be going that way, to be honest. I actually have got because obviously I'm online all the time, like an online human being. I actually really wanted to make my own avatar and have my own denim collection.
Okay. Actually, I've got a really, really good idea about this. I don't know if we've got time to talk about it now, because we've already been talking for more than an hour.
I know.
But next time I see you, please remind me to tell you about the idea I had about 4 or 5 years ago. It was actually a Denim PV. They actually asked me about, it was about 4 or 5 years ago when it was PV Barcelona. They actually asked me if I could do a talk there about how denim's going to be in like 100 years' time. And actually, one of the ideas I came up with was all about the virtual world. And about how when you buy a pair of jeans, you're also going to want to own that jeans physically, but also you're going to want a copy of that jeans for your avatar.
So that's exactly what I want.
So now, exactly,
My avatar can be all around the world.
Exactly.
And I can just be here.
Yeah, yeah, but the whole concept went even further than that, because it went about how to make manufacturing more sustainable.
Yeah.
And I think the only real way we can make the massive jump we can make production sustainable again is when we go back to the tailoring methods, when we're using all the latest technologies to make productions for millions of people, but actually we're doing it in a personal way for individuals.
Yeah.
So like now, like if you want to sell jeans, you make hundreds of thousands and you hope people walk into your shop and buy them. And some you sell, some you don't sell. The ones you don't sell, we are recycling them and reusing them or selling them in different ways. Yeah. But the dream would be maybe to go with you and your avatar into a virtual world.
Yeah.
Into a virtual environment where you could select and design a pair of jeans yourself with the help of a designer. Yeah. In a virtual world, and then the factory then just makes that pair of jeans. Okay. and then sends it to you by a drone or something like that. So okay. It arrives. So you're having something individual because you're the only person in the world that has this pair of jeans. Yeah. The factory's really happy because they're not making millions of jeans. They're just making the jeans which are focused to each individual person. Yeah. And then the fun side of it is you get the jeans you want, but then you also get the copy of the jeans as your avatar because you did it in a virtual world in the first place. Yeah. It's a little bit futuristic, kind of Black Mirror style, but
yeah, but don't you think that when you watched The Matrix way back in, I don't know how many years ago that felt like something that really wasn't ever going to happen, but now it really feels like we are moving more towards The Matrix every day.
Exactly. And we've got to make sure we look good in The Matrix, so we've got to make sure our avatars are dressed well. So.
Yeah, so I'm working on my avatar.
Well, it was really nice to speak to you.
Yeah, and you. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, it's been loads of fun.
Been in my house, having a little chat.
Yeah, exactly. A nice cup of tea and a chat. And let's keep in contact, and hopefully we can do a collaboration on something exciting in the future together.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, I can't wait to see you again soon.
All right, Kelly. It was nice to meet you. See you later. Bye. Bye. Bye.